everyone. How are you? How are you? Happy New Year again. It is, goodness, the TERRAN Lamp Show, episode number 77. Double sevens in the house, in the house, in the house. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. This is the TERRAN Lamp Show, episode number 77, and I am your host, TERRAN Lamp. Thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you are following, make sure you are liking, make sure you are subscribing. So we're on YouTube, we are on Apple Podcast, of course on my IGTV. We are here every Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. For my friends on the East, that's 8:30. For my friends on the West Coast, that is 5:30. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I truly appreciate your support in 2021. Goodness gracious, like I said, this is episode number 77. So we have been doing this since May of 2020. And I truly appreciate your support. If you have a story, and I know you do, please make sure you get in contact with me. I see some familiar names on here. Juba, how are you? Oh my goodness, I haven't talked to you or heard from you in a long time. I see you on IG though. If you have a story, Juba, you can come on too. And I know you do. Kenny J, thank you. What's up? I know you do have a story. I would love to have you right here on the show. If you know someone who has a story, I would love to have them on the show as well. Make sure you get in contact with me. Hook us up, DM. If you have my cell phone number, all that good stuff, make sure you connect us. So I would love to have them on the show. This show is all volunteer. It is all by everyone's free will and good love and all that good stuff. It's about positivity, love, connection, and helping people. You know, that's all it's about. It's all, like I said, it's all volunteer. Every guest is volunteer. So I need your support to keep it going. And I'd love to have you again on the show. As always, I'm going to put my Cash App in the comments right now. And that goes directly to paying a cancer or heart disease patient's bill. So I take what I get from that, put Survivor in the comments. Is no official 501c3, nothing fancy, good old fashioned from my heart, from your heart to a heart disease and cancer patient in need. I go directly to the hospital and swipe and pay for somebody's bill. I've got some connections in the hospital because I've been there a time or two. So let me get my guest. Let me put my Cash App in the comments real quick and then get my guest on. I'm learning how to do all this pinning and all this jazz down here. So yeah, that is my Cash App. If you have, feel the need, so inclined, the love in your heart, please make sure you're just giving to that. Again, it's no fancy 501c3, nothing, anything like that. It's just good old fashioned me and a trust tree and, you helping out. So let me get my guest on here, Miss Leslie. How are you? Perfect timing to have Miss Leslie on today. She is going to, we're all kind of in this mood of health and wealth, and she's going to share with us some great things to turn us from FEUDIES to FOODIES. Leslie, let's see. Are you there? I'm saying accept, Leslie, but it's not letting you on. Let me see if I can request you on. So it's not letting me invite you on, Leslie. I don't know if, is your profile, it should be public, but let me see, is it public? And do you have the latest version of Instagram? I am putting accept. I don't know why it keeps telling me, Leslie, that it won't. I'm putting accept. So request to join. And yeah, let's see. It says you're unable to join, Leslie. I don't know exactly why. So it might be, we'll get it figured out though. You might need to re-log on or hopefully,
there we go.
There you are. How are you?
Oh, I think it's COVID stuff in this house. That's what it is. It's COVID craziness. So yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. Can you see me okay? I'm learning how to use my ring light, so I can never tell if I look like I'm in the dark or in the light, or and you guys can tell me too in the comments. How are you doing?
We're better, yes. The fatigue has left the building, so we've got the 3 C's going on here: coughing, congestion, and crankiness. So no crankiness tonight, and the coughing I think is under control. So
okay, yeah. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, and I hope your family is doing well.
Yes, everybody is. Yes.
So if you're just joining us, Leslie is going to share with us, and she's going to tell us all about herself. But this is perfect timing to have you on, because I think we all, to your, turning us from FEUDIES to FOODIES, we're all kind of in this state of learning right now and how to do that and what works best for ourselves. So this is perfect timing to have you on. I mean, I might have some questions of my own, but ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions for Leslie, please make sure you're putting them in the comments. Again, this is the TERRAN Lamb Show, episode number 77. Make sure you're liking, following, subscribing, all that good stuff. Leslie, it's all you. Tell us a little bit.
All right. Well, hi, everybody. I am so happy to spend some time with you. And as you might have just surmised from this conversation, we are now a COVID family. So, but, the good part of that, I guess, is super immunity. I've always wanted it, maybe with a cape and not this way, but here we go. So, we're in the beginning of a new year, and we see all these things all the time, right, about resolutions. It's why do we need resolutions? That means we did it before and it didn't work before, so I don't think so. Is what might be more, not even solutions, but what's realistic and what is doable and what is practical and what is sustainable, and maybe that kind of focus instead of anything else is really what we want to do, because as we are all living through this and doing our best every day, right, to live through this pandemic as we are, is control what you can. Right, there's variables that are out of our control: Flurona and Delta, Cron, and who knows. But this activity is ours to choose. And since this is something we do, this hand-to-mouth activity, hopefully more than once a day, then think about that. If you eat minimally 3 times a day, 7 days a week, that's 21 eating occasions over the course of a week. And if each and every one of those brings you strife instead of joy, that is not a good thing. So, this is really the foundation of what it is that I do. I have been a registered dietitian since 1982, so like forever. Hashtag fossil fuel, that's me. And I've been around a long time. But the good about that is I've been able to see a lot of things over the course of my career, and how we've evolved from the choose and avoid list. It's like, unless you have an allergy or an intolerance, there's no reason for that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that in your head with your eating, to being more accepting, to really thinking about eating as an occasion and a journey, and not just an obligation all of the time, and realizing that it is certainly more than what is on our plate or in our glass or our blender or our bowl. It is also about the habits that surround our eating. Are we taking the time to sit and eat? Are we nourishing our body more than once a day? Are we liking to be in the kitchen? Because not everybody does, and that's okay. There's room for everybody at the table. Are we respecting and embracing our cultural backgrounds? Or are we feeling like we have to shut that all away because somebody else said you have to eat a certain way? If somebody's telling you that, don't listen. It's really important that we all bring our traditions and our intuition into our kitchens, right? I mean, that is really what this is about and what it needs to be about. So at this time of the year, where a lot of sound bites, it's what I say, there's a lot of sinfluencers out there in terms of things that they're telling you to not do. It's just have organic, or just do this. Why? How do they know? And if they're not experts in this field, they don't know. And it could be messing with your life. I don't like unintended consequences. That's something that really irks me to no end. And I'm just going to give you a quick example, and then I'll be quiet. Is people that will say right now, okay, I'm not going to eat gluten, I'm not going to do dairy, I'm not going to do nightshade family foods, which nobody is allergic to, by the way, anyways, is if you don't eat foods and you eliminate them, but you don't have an intolerance to them, then potentially you are shortchanging your body of essential nutrients. And when you take these entire groups of food out because somebody told you to do that, not based upon any science whatsoever, then you might indeed not be able to tolerate them well, because you're not eating those foods, and then your body doesn't produce the enzyme to digest them. So you are manufacturing a problem in your body that wasn't there to begin with. And why? You know, I'm a very big believer in we've got to give our microbiome a healthy home. And that's more than taking probiotics every day. That is the food that you eat that helps us sustain a healthy gut and a healthy immune system, things that are in our control. That is really where I think we all need to be focusing more. It's very empowering to do that.
Yeah, I think that's, you know, I think one of the things you said, so a couple of things I want to unpack: sustainability, right? A lot of people ask me and you and not, you know, I'm not a registered dietitian. It's just life. People ask it all the time. You're like, well, have you done this? Have you done that? Have you cut out this? Have you cut out that? And I always think to myself, like, what is sustainable for somebody? You know, and it's amazing to me how, you know, because a lot of people, you know, they'll cut out this for, you know, the first, whatever, 3 months of the year, the first 90 days, and then it comes back. And then what you've just told me is that kind of creates some type of not good for your body. And it's not just like not good for your like here body. It's literally not good for your digestion of your body, right? Is that what you're saying?
Not good for your digestion, but potentially not good mentally either, because
Yeah.
you know, nutrients, it's not just a one way down, right? It's this way too. Is what we eat impacts the health of our brain, our ability to think and focus and function over the course of the day. So, you know, if I were going to define sustainable, it is what is within your salary cap, or that's really important. It's what is within your hourly cap. How much time do you have and want to devote to your eating? Most of us really don't have 24/7. There's other things that we need to do with our life. Are those foods around and available to you? And, you know, right now we know that the supply chain, not great. There's, you know, a lot of breakdown occurring, and then we add weather factors into it. Oh, to do this, but it's not. So I really love the idea of wealth on the shelf. What do you have in your home that, and you know, case in point here, we've been doing our best to protect ourselves and everybody else. So we have not been out because I don't know if I am still positive. I don't know this yet. I'll know on Friday. And so, you know, I'm looking through my cupboards and cabinets and in the freezer and in the fridge and saying, okay, I can assemble from what it is that I have and not worry about spreading COVID to anyone else.
I try to think about that too. I try to think about what I like, that what's on wealth in my shelf, because what is, you know, what do I already have, and you know, how can I make it into something that's, you know, good for me. Now, I guess, you know, there's lots of people, like I said, that ask about what is this, what is that. So what if somebody's listening and you would give them some. So this is, guys, if you're just joining, this is the Terran Lamp Show, episode number 77. Make sure you're liking, following, subscribing. This is going to be on Apple Podcasts. This is also going to be on my YouTube channel, and of course on Leslie and myself, our IGTVs. So what are some advice you would give someone? Because if there's, you know, people listening, and again, this is being the perfect time to kind of think about that. You're eating, your overall health, you're eating specifically. What is some advice that you might give someone who might want to start or stop, or, you know, what kind of do's and don'ts maybe?
I think the very first thing to do is to do a self-assessment of what goals do you have. Not everybody has the same goals. So for somebody, it might be, well, I have a strong family history of whatever that might be. And so I want to keep my body healthy to be preventive. Okay, that's a good thing. For somebody else, it might be, I don't have enough energy. You know, I'm tired all the time. I find myself just drooping as the day goes on. Well, that's reasonable. You know, somebody else might say, well, I have physique goals. I don't use the word weight because no, it's physique goals. I would like to lose some body fat. I would like to increase my muscle mass. And because I work with a lot of athletes, it could be performance goals. I want to be stronger. I want to be faster. I want to have more stamina for the activity that I do. And I feel like for all the work I'm putting forth, I should be further along that path. So any one of those, or whatever else it is, you know, somebody might say, well, I'd like to try plant-based eating. Or somebody might say, I'd really like to have a zero waste kitchen right now. I really want to make that my goal for 2022 is less to throw away. So if you start with the goal that's personalized to you, That's going to be number one. Then number two, you start to do your fact finding. And, you know, I know people don't always like to monitor, but how the heck do we know what we're eating unless we keep track of it? If you don't like to write things down, you can use your phone and take pictures of your plate or your bowl. So you really have an idea. It gives you that immediate feedback is, oh, I should eat more vegetables. Oh my God, I had one in the entire week. Okay, that might be a little bit of a red flag. That might be a starting point. And the third is that you start small. So rather than I have to totally erase and change the entire day, I always like people to start with their weaknesses. So the area, the time of the day that is your hardest, that's what you change. If you're already doing breakfast, why would you change that? That's not necessary to do if you think you're eating a good breakfast. But if you say, oh my God, it's after 7 o'clock at night, it's like the jaws just don't stop. It's this foraging thing like a little squirrel in the kitchen constantly, then that's the one you work on. And that doesn't mean that you put something over your mouth or, you know, tie yourself up and you can't eat anything. What it does mean is this, is what if I made an effort to perhaps take a bowl of cereal, put some milk in or whatever it is, sit down and eat it instead of something from a bag or a box or a jar. That in and of itself is a major change to make. And you do that for a week and you see how that feels.
I like start small. I feel like maybe people do tend to, no pun intended, bite off more than they can chew, you know, when it comes to this change, right? When it comes to this change they're about to make with their health and wealth or eating, you know. I think people tend to say, you know what, starting January 1st, I'm going to swipe out everything. And then they end up by March 1st not swiping out anything, you know, because it all comes back.
Or sometimes by January 2nd. It's not even, you know, it's not even 2 months, 1 day, that's it and done. So,
so I didn't send this to you in a text message, but I thought about it. You know, when I put on one of the things for the show tonight, I put, you know, turning us from FEUDIES to FOODIES, and I put a little pizza there. And I was like, I wonder if she's going to be like pizza. But then I was like, you know, but I'm thinking like you can fit those things in, right? Like people don't understand or tell me more about, you know, being able to your point, like fit those things in, because I feel like you have to cut out I mean, I know people think about, okay, we're going to cut down on our fats and down on our sugars, but I feel like they have to cut out the good thing, the yummy things all the time.
Right. And first of all, food should be palatable. I mean, honestly, you know, we're not earthworms. We really do enjoy what it looks like, what it smells like, when we can smell, what it tastes like, the textures, the temperatures, all those things are very important attributes of food. So if we think about pizza, for example, we have a lot of choices. We could do a thick crust. We could do a thin crust. We could do a more whole wheat crust, or we could do a gluten-free crust if we need to, or even I've experimented with using shredded potatoes as a crust. Shredded potato with yogurt added, so it's actually vegetable with a little more protein, and it works really, really well. So we have that, the carbohydrate. So why is that any different than I'm having my carbohydrate because I'm doing a rice or a pasta? No, it isn't different. And then pizza is nice because it gives you the option for vegetables. So one of the vegetables could certainly be the sauce that's on it, a tomato-based sauce, but why stop there? Why not add other vegetables, right? So we could add spinach, we could add broccoli, we could add mushrooms, we could add peppers, whatever it is, all those things are options to put on. Then even if you wanted to do a puree bean and put that as a base because it adds more vegetable, and then what's your other protein going to be? So people who do use cheese, okay, and that doesn't mean so much cheese that it's sliding off the top, but you can put some cheese on, you can put a ground turkey on, or you know, even like a very lean ham or a Canadian bacon, or even a plant-based cheese if that's what you choose to use. So if you think about that, yes, there's produce on the plate. That's the sauce and the vegetable. Yes, there's grain or carb. That's the crust. And yes, there's protein. So really, why is that any different than anything else? And I really like the idea with pizza to eat it in the way that they do in Italy, knife and fork, not just folded and inhaled. It's going to take you longer to eat it when you do that. And sometimes what people will do is if they order pizza is, you know, they're going to cut it for you a certain way at a pizzeria because it's just what they do. Is if you have a pizza cutter at home, you can cut it again. So if you're getting an 8-cut pizza, could you make 16 cuts out of it? You could just cut it again. And so if you say, oh, normally I would eat 3 slices. Maybe you're eating 2 slices because you cut them each in 2. That's 4. So, wow, I'm actually getting 4. It's these little mind game things, but they work really well with a knife and a fork, and then it's something that you enjoy. So I won't eat pizza, I'll eat around it. What are you going to eat instead? A salad? It's not the same. You're going to eat an apple instead? It's not the same. So this is where we get ourselves into trouble, is those certain foods we think, oh, I really want that, but I shouldn't. Shame on me. So I'll eat something else, and then you're still going to want.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you
There you
there?
go. Back.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, no, I put that, like I said, I put that in one of the things for the show, and I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put that pizza emoji on there. So I wanted to ask you about it. So tell me a little bit about, and I know, about the community you've built around, consulting and sharing, your expertise. Tell me a little bit about the community you've built and how that works around you.
Yeah, so I mean, because I've been in this field for a long time, when I started in this field, a lot of this was seeing people individually, and then also in group settings is doing classes. I love to do that. Just give me a microphone and I'm a happy girl. And so, my community is not so much in a clinical setting. It's more in an outpatient ambulatory setting, is doing some work at various companies right now, all virtual, but still doing that. My community is also in the sports world. Is over the course of my career, I've worked with a lot of professional teams right now with the Kansas City Chiefs, previously with the Steelers. So it's going to be a really interesting matchup. But I have to say, I'm wearing red. So I live in Pittsburgh. I probably do bleed black and gold, but on Sunday, it will be rooting for the Chiefs because that's the way it is. I also have been a runner for many years of my life. So, working with that community, and now I've gotten into rowing. So I'm taking my community in a different direction, and actually going to write about it and do some videos about it. So it's pretty darn exciting. So that I love that part of it. And then, as everybody evolves and what they do, and certain things become priorities and certain things go by the wayside, is doing a lot with kids. I've done a program called Camp Delicious, where bringing kids into the kitchen and also into the garden. So you really actually see where food comes from, and then you do pick that food and make something with it. It's how we learn. It's the experience of doing those things that is so vitally important and really so exciting as well. So, and then also mentoring is a very big thing for me. I mean, I had those opportunities when I started out, and I think it's what we all do, is we give to, we give back, we give on. That is it. So, and then I think my newest of my communities is that our family has expanded. So taken on the role of Glama, which is willingly. So it's really kind of awesome. Unfortunately, none of the little munchkins live here in Pittsburgh. So we see them as much as it is that we can. But, it's really just wonderful, and helping them early on of developing this appreciation for being at the kitchen, or as my children say, you're exploiting our children all the time. I said, I don't care. This is a grandmother's privilege to be able to do that and post them on social media and all those types of things. So, and then I think also working with people that are my age. So, I'm not young, and I don't pretend to be anymore, but there's a lot of life left for me. There's a lot of life left for all of us. And why not be embracing that to the fullest? Nothing is off limits. Nothing is off limit. Whatever it is that we want to do, by all means, we should be doing that and more.
Yeah, I think the kids, by the way, earlier you got some likes, some hearts flying up there. I kid thing is very interesting. I got a chance this summer to take my niece and 2 other children to a cooking class. And I thought that was super cool. I mean, I thought it was super cool for them to get ideas of what to do in the kitchen. They made, I don't know what they made. They made like little blueberry tarts or something like that, little mini tarts. But my niece is 11 or 12. Oh my gosh, one or the other. And she likes to cook already. So I think it's interesting to see, and I think that's a cool community to build, is our, your kids and your grandkids and things like that. Their love of food, and teaching them young how to be healthy, wealthy, and wise kind of thing.
And then the one other thing I would add to that is, certainly as we look at what's happening in all of our communities, no matter where it is that we live, and the gap is growing larger, not only in terms of food security, and it might be temporary and it might be long-term, nutrition insecurity, and really finding ways to work with that. All of us have those opportunities in our communities to be part of that solution. And that's the only way that it's ever going to resolve, is doing those types of things. I'm a very big believer in recipe rescue. And all of our communities, we have a lot of older folks who have all of this wonderful knowledge and resourcefulness. My goodness, my grandmothers and grandfathers were the king and queen of recycle, reuse, repurpose, because what other choice did you have? You didn't. So you know what? There's a lot to be learned from them, and tapping some of that wonderful knowledge so we don't lose the recipes and we don't lose those traditions. We got to find a way to keep it going and keep it alive.
I like the way you've incorporated food into everyday life.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I got from this. I got a lot of things, but I'm listening to you and I'm listening like, you never said one time, like, don't do anything.
That's human nature. If somebody tells us not to, we want it right away, right? We just do. Don't eat that. Oh no, now I'm having a craving for that food because you told me I couldn't have it. And I mean, we can't live without food. I mean, we can for short term, but we really, it doesn't make us healthy to do so. So why should we have that internal enragement? It just does not make a lot of sense to do
and it's
that.
Not, what does the future hold?
Well, I mean, it's certainly getting involved more in doing things related to food rescue and finding ways to bring communities together. On tap for me, a lot of presentations this year around hunger in the locker room, and the NFL is actually going to start to be addressing this. It's like, hooray, is we kind of assume that all these guys, they're making all this money, things are fine. It may not have been fine for them growing up. And so, and not just about men, women too. This is, equal opportunity here, that we really find the way across the board. Nourish, nurture, thrive, and strive. That is what I'm looking forward to doing now that I've hit this age of 65. It's like, oh my God, I'm going to say that out loud. But I did say it out loud, so there it is.
5 too, so everybody heard it. We do no editing here. It's just me. No editing. So let me ask you another question. This question I always tell the audience, I do not text you guys because I want it to be totally like off the cuff. So most of you who are, well, I don't know. If you've watched the show before, you know the question. And you also know that I'm a fur mom to my cat. And I have these cats on the outside, which that's a whole different program. But they say curious cats. So what are you curious about?
What I'm curious about is, well, first of all, I'd love to see the pets, but when we met, you and I met, I think it was in DC, and it was a presentation that I gave for NSCA maybe, or it may have been for IDA. I'm not sure.
Yes, maybe.
Yeah. So, what I'm going to turn that question back to you, my dear, and say, what's in your forecast for 2022? What would you like to see happen?
Well, okay, so for what we're talking about, I would definitely like to stay balanced. I have a busy lifestyle, as we probably all do. So I'm curious about incorporating the things we're talking about into that busy lifestyle. I'm curious about doing that and how, I'm going to make that happen. I know that it can happen, but where my curiosity lies is keeping it, what you mentioned, sustainable for me, right? You mentioned that. You mentioned, is it in, what's in my budget, what's in my time, all that. So I'm very curious around what we're talking about around that. How can I keep it sustainable for me and yummy and all those things? And reason being is because most people know I'm a heart disease and cancer survivor, but I also like to have fun. So I want to make sure that I'm doing it for the health of my body, but I'm doing it for the health of my mind. And I think busy lifestyle, you can easily get out of that if you let yourself. So I'm curious to see how I can take all these lessons learned and put them sustainability for TERRAN and her busy lifestyle. The other thing,
and that is not selfish. That is self-caring as it should be. If we don't take care of ourselves, who's going to do it for us? That would be no one. So
yeah, I gotta make sure I'm really always seeking that for myself. And then while since you asked me, I'm also curious about professionally about, and I'm putting this out there to the world. Like my biggest thing with this show is people like yourself coming in and, offering your generosity and kindness and taking the show to the next level and what that looks like. I always, like I said at the beginning of the show, put my Cash App on. I've been able to pay off one bill for a heart disease and cancer patient in 2021 with the kind offerings that I've received. So I'm professionally curious about how I'm taking this to the next level and what that's going to look like. And I'm trying to be open-minded and listen to ideas and want them to come in and accept them. So professionally, I'm curious about what's the next step for this show. Your episode number 77. And when I started, I had no idea of the overwhelming support. And I always appreciate people like yourself. I mean, we booked this show like 6 months in advance or something because it's just me. I'm a one-man band. So I'm just very thankful for people like yourself who want to come on and share your story and do it in kindness and in love. And so I love that the world is kind of opening back up to that part of us, right? And people are doing those great things. So those are professionally and personally what I'm curious about. You've got definitely some hearts going on here. You've got some smiley faces. You've got people, they're picking up what you're putting down. So I think a lot of people are interested, interested in what you have to say, because I think it's right, perfect timing, and a lot of people want to know how to be sustainable. So guys, Leslie, let them know how to contact you.
Yes, certainly through my website, which is activeeatingadvice.com. You can also reach out to me via Gmail, and my Gmail address is bonslj1@gmail.com. I had to think about it because I don't usually say it out loud. And follow me on social. I would love that. My IG is BonsiLJ, and my Facebook and Twitter are both Leslie Bonsi. I am the queen of rhyme. Everything that I put out there rhymes. It's just my thing. I think it's keeping my gray matter intact. Plus, my dad used to make us do that every Sunday. We had to come up with limericks, clean ones, of course, at the dining room table. So, he's no longer alive, but I'm keeping that tradition going on for him. So.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure he appreciated that, and I'm sure he got a kick out of your good rhymes every week.
Yes.
There were some interesting ones after doing that after a while, right?
Oh yes. Some of them will remain just in the family vault, but nonetheless, yes.
In the archives. Well, guys, it is 8:03. So thank you again for joining me. Again, this is the TERRAN Lamb Show. Please make sure you're doing the same. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing. We're on YouTube and Apple Podcasts now. This episode is going to be on our IGTVs as well as on both of those other channels. So it'll be on YouTube and Apple Podcasts over the next few days. Again, this is the TERRAN Lamb Show. I am a one-man band, so any ideas, I would love to hear them about making this more philanthropic for those heart disease and cancer patients. Leslie, I am going to call you in just a second. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your talents. And again, officially, I say thank you, and I hope your family is well.
Oh, thank you so much. I loved spending the evening with you. Thank you.
Everybody be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you next week. This is the TERRAN Lamb Show. Bye-bye.